Hello, everyone. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about how we can turn our technology spend from a simple cost center into a real strategic growth engine. It's all about moving architecture out of the server room and squarely into the boardroom. Let's dive in. So, let's start with a really direct question. Are you absolutely certain that every single dollar we invest in technology is directly pushing our most important strategic goals forward? If there's even a moment's hesitation in answering that, it's a pretty good sign we're dealing with unmanaged complexity. And this complexity, well, it's not just an IT headache, it's something that hits our bottom line hard. I'm talking about that frustration of seeing different teams basically reinvent the wheel, or the disappointment when projects get delivered, but they don't actually move the needle on business value. And frankly, the sleepless nights over security gaps we didn't even know existed. This isn't just a tech problem, it's a strategic drain on our speed, our budget, and our resources. So, what's the answer? Well, we need to build a bridge, a proper strategic bridge that creates a direct, unbroken line from the vision we set in the boardroom right down to the execution on the ground. And that bridge is solution architecture. Now, notice the language we're using here. We're not talking about servers or databases. We're talking about a methodical journey. See, architecture is the discipline of really truly understanding the business problem first, before a single decision is made about technology. This is how we guarantee that what we ultimately build isn't just functional, but that it's strategically powerful. And this is where it all comes together. Think of architecture as this central connector, the master translator for the organization. It takes our high-level business strategy and translates it into a clear, actionable plan that directs every single project. It makes sure that our tech and our operations are always pulling in the same direction, towards our strategic goals. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, it's not magic, not at all. It's a methodical process. Let's take a look at the framework that brings this discipline to life, giving us predictability and real control over our technology investments. This life cycle is really the engine of the entire practice. It all starts with understanding the why. What is the business goal we're trying to achieve? Then we define the what, that high-level vision for the solution. From there, we create the how, the detailed design blueprints. Now, this next part is absolutely critical. We guide the implementation to make sure it actually follows the plan. And finally, we maintain and evolve that architecture so it keeps delivering value long after launch. It's a logical flow from a simple idea to a powerful reality. And this isn't just about process for process's sake. Every single phase delivers something tangible, a real blueprint. We might start with a high-level concept of operations, or ConOps, just to get all the stakeholders on the same page. Then, as we firm up the details, that document evolves into a much more detailed solution architecture document, or SAD, which is the master plan for the build teams. Each step brings more clarity and systematically reduces risk. Having the right blueprint at the right stage is absolutely essential. It stops confusion in its tracks and makes sure everyone, from senior stakeholders to the developers, is working from the very same script. Let's look at two of the most important examples. And this really shows you the flexibility of the framework. Think of a ConOps like a rough sketch you'd make when you're just exploring a new idea. Its job is to get everyone nodding along to the same high-level vision. The SAD, on the other hand, is the detailed, formal architectural blueprint you hand over to the builders when it's time to break ground. It's all about providing just the right level of detail at just the right time, which saves a massive amount of rework and confusion down the line. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but let's talk about what really matters. What's the measurable return on this investment? Well, the value comes from embedding a few core, non-negotiable principles into every single technology decision we make. First up, we maximize reusability. Instead of building every solution from the ground up, we design components and services that can be used again and again. This simple idea has a huge impact. It lowers our development costs, for sure, but even more importantly, it massively accelerates how fast we can deliver future projects, because we're not constantly reinventing the wheel. Second, security comes first. It's not an afterthought. It's not something we add on at the end. By designing security in from day one, we protect our data, we protect our reputation, and we protect our customers. This proactive stance helps us avoid the enormous cost and the huge risk of trying to bolt on security after a system is already up and running. And third, we start treating our data like the strategic asset it truly is. When our architecture ensures our data is well governed, high quality, and easy to access, it becomes the fuel for everything we do. It powers better, faster decision making, it drives huge operational efficiencies, and it unlocks the kind of innovation we need to stay ahead of the competition. And when we apply these principles consistently, day in and day out, the impact is real and it's quantifiable. We see significant cost avoidance because we're stamping out redundant work. We get our projects to market faster because our teams are building on a solid, reusable foundation. And we see a clear, measurable reduction in risk because security and compliance are woven into the very fabric of our solutions. This is the tangible, hard-nosed return on architecture. So, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Architecture isn't really about technology. It's the methodical journey we take to guarantee that our investments create effective, sustainable solutions that are perfectly and powerfully aligned with our business strategy. Which leaves us with one final thought. As you go back to your own areas of the business, I'd ask you to think about this. How could a clearer, more intentional architectural blueprint help you and your teams accelerate your most critical business goals? Thank you.